We got a theme going on. Okay. I should have a green shirt with my green juice and my green hair after being in the pool. My hair picked up the color that I didn't want, which was green. So I'll be on Amazon soon buying some stuff. All right. Okay.
That used to be our color, so it's perfectly fine to wear green.
All right. So anyway, we are now recording. So welcome to our call tonight. Talking about healthy living and healthy lifestyle. I was simply just saying, this is a topic that's on all of our hearts. That it's important to everyone, whether you have children or you don't, or if you have little ones or you have older ones, or you have grandbabies, or it doesn't matter where you are. Like, this is a topic that everybody can take something from and learn from, right? Because our bodies are our most valuable assets besides our brains, right? Our bodies are so important, and what we feed and fuel our body with is going to move us into the future. And if we're putting the right things in, it's going to provide the energy and the health to do amazing things and to learn and to progress and to really just suck the marrow out of life. Whereas if we choose the wrong things the majority of the time, we're going to have less energy and we're going to have less vitality and less health, and it's going to shut doors and it's going to hurt us. And I say this from experience because I know I've been there, done that, right? So anyways, again, just thank you everybody for joining us, and I'm really excited for our presenters tonight. So Stephanie, if you want to go ahead and throw the slides up, we'll get started officially. All right. And you guys are amazing, like just huge. Like, let's just do a little, like, I know this is like old school, but like raise the roof to everybody who's here tonight when there's so much going on in the world and in your own personal lives. Like, thank you for being here with us tonight. Because Isagenix, we're celebrating not only just our vision, but this idea of well-being, all right? Of living this healthy, joyful, abundant life. Like I said, sucking the marrow out of life. What does that look like, guys? What does it look like to you? All right. It looks better, right? It looks like we're eating better. We're feeling better. We're moving our bodies better. I finished a week of CrossFit, and believe me, like, I love the idea of moving better. I'm feeling a little achy and sore right now. Good thing we have products to help with that. All right. Together in Isagenix, we are simply just living better lives. All right. As we focus on the most important things. So next week is going to be really exciting. I don't know how many of you know Bethany Krause, but she is a good friend of ours, and she has done incredible things. She is actually a pro snowboarder. So she, came into Isagenix for many different reasons, not just for the financial opportunity and for the products, but for just health in general. All right. And she's going to be sharing her story along with these amazing women that I'm getting to know right now. And they're going to be sharing their stories. These are all women that are here in Isagenix living this abundant life because Bethany shared with them. What a beautiful thing. Okay, so join us next week. And then just a reminder, and you guys know this, but as a reminder, just like everything in life, the results that you get, whether you're looking at Isagenix from a financial opportunity standpoint or for the health benefits that we have that are so beautiful, regardless of why you're here tonight, maybe it's both. It's just like everything else. What you put into it is what you're going to get, and results aren't guaranteed, like nothing else is in life. But you're going to hear some amazing stories tonight about things that you can do so that you can get on the path to reaching those results. All right. So with that being said, I get to introduce this beautiful woman that I have come to love, Michelle Gilbert. And she's going to start us off tonight, kicking off with her story, and following her will be the other two. And then we're going to do something a little bit different tonight that we're really excited about. After these three women share their stories and some great information, we're going to have a little bit of round table and be able to answer some questions and give some tips and tricks. So right now, as she starts talking, I want you to go to the chat box, make sure it's working, and get ready to ask questions that you want during this presentation. Okay, Michelle, it's all you.
Hi, everybody. Looking around, many of you have heard my story already, but I'm going to start with a little bit of my story. If you've heard my story, though, you're going to hear it in a little bit different of a way today because the topic is kids' nutrition. So I'm going to talk about what got me to the point where when you saw those pictures a few minutes ago, when I started Isagenix, I was almost 300 pounds. And that was a lot of learned bad habits from childhood. So I was overweight my entire life. I was bullied as a kid. Spent a lot of years being very unhappy, very unhealthy, extremely discouraged. And right before Isagenix, I had gotten to the point where I pretty much felt like I was destined to be that way. There was nothing that I could do about it. And then a friend shared Isagenix with me. And I initially said no, and no, and no for months. And then something clicked in my brain and I decided to say yes. So I started my journey, and almost right away, probably within a week, I felt so amazing that I felt like I could tackle anything. I felt more positive. I told my son, even if I don't lose weight, I'm going to keep doing this because I feel really, really good. And I eventually lost over 100 pounds, 103 total, over 94 inches. And that, although that's amazing, and it is, and it feels really good, but what was even more amazing is the health benefits of it all. I had a ton of health conditions that had built up over many, many years. And part of the excuses that I told myself was, in conjunction with telling myself I was destined to be that way, I was just telling myself that that was genetic. My high cholesterol was genetic because my grandmother had high cholesterol. My pre-diabetes was genetic. It wasn't. None of that was, because it's all better now with great nutrition. So rewinding though, because the topic is kids and nutrition and how to talk to your kids, I'm here to tell you my parents' story of what not to do. My mother will be the first one to tell you that she screwed up. She and I have had many conversations now that I'm an adult of the fact that she did not do things right. I have a brother who's 2 years younger than me, but he didn't have a weight issue. And he was, first of all, male, had a high metabolism, and didn't have any issues. But as many of us probably, if you could put it in the chat if you've heard this, there are starving children in China. Eat, finish your food. Who's heard that? Finish everything on your plate, or you can't leave the table. My mother did both of those. And I mentioned that I was bullied as a kid, but there was some unknowing, there was some bullying at home too. And it wasn't meant to be this way, but my dad nobody else in my family had a weight issue. So they didn't really get it. They didn't get how their comments affected me. But one example, I remember, and if I can get through this without crying, because this was one of the main reasons that I continued to just gain and gain and gain. Mentally, I had a doctor's appointment probably when I was in middle school. I think it was upper middle school, could have been early high school, but I'm pretty sure it was upper middle school. I had a doctor's appointment, just a checkup. And my mom took me, as always. My dad was working. And during dinner that night, my dad asked how the doctor's appointment went. And my mom told him, oh, everything looked good, except he was just concerned about her weight. And my dad said, well, how much did she weigh? My mom says it right at the dinner table, what my weight was. And my dad said, without thinking, I'm assuming, that's what you weighed when you were pregnant with her. And that absolutely devastated me. And I just sat there and I didn't say anything and let that sink in. So that contributed a lot to the negative self-esteem around food for me. So I am a mother. My son, though, is 19, and I did a lot of damage to him. I've only been using Isagenix for a little over 2 years. So he was 17 when I started, and he just, I did a lot of damage because of the learned habits that I learned, I passed on to him. But thankfully, he had my mother who had learned from raising me wrong. She had learned what she had done with me, and she was his primary caregiver when I was in school or when I was in school and working. And so she helped a lot. So the damage done was not as bad as it could have been without her. So that's a little bit of how I got to the point that I got to. Thankfully, Isagenix and this wonderful community came into my life. So really quick, I'm going to share my favorite products. I start every day with, as most people that use Isagenix do, start with Ionix, but I mix it with Repair. So Ionix, this is nature's answer to stress, and it is amazing, helps to curb appetite, just makes you feel more positive. And Repair is, I use it after workouts, but I also start every day with it just to help with the everyday aches and pains because I'm getting older, I'm 50, and lower back pain is much better. And Beebe. This is absolutely amazing. And speaking in terms of children, my son, this helped my son get off of Monster. He was drinking that crap a lot. And now he has these, which are all natural, so I know what's going into his body. Not only does Ionix help me, but it helps him because he has some anxiety and he has ADHD. And this has helped his focus and it helps his anxiety a lot. So he does this every day, I do it every day, and we try to limit ourselves to one of these every day. So that's all I got for now.
Is to Repair.
I like her story. I have like weight issues too. I was bullied when I was a kid because I was different from other people, and it is hard having a lot of weight issues.
It is. Absolutely.
It is. And ever since I heard about this program, I couldn't get up my stepdad's truck because of my weight. Sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize at all. We get it.
It was embarrassing how I couldn't get my stepdad's truck. Sorry, I'm just crying. My weight's gone out of control, and that's why I heard about this program that I've been doing, and I love it. And my body needs to change.
And we got you.
And I'm sorry.
Our brother does it, and he got us on it, and he's a colon survivor. So it really helped him. And so he's got us on it. And so she's lost 6 pounds in 3 weeks. So, yeah. And that.
It's hard losing weight. It's hard. But
she can walk a mile now, which before she couldn't. And she can go up my steps without getting winded. So she's on her way. It's just, yeah.
She's always
focus on those things.
Well, you're doing amazing things, Megan, and we can't wait to watch your journey. You know, you're in the right place, and It's calls like tonight. I'm just letting you know, Michelle has done such an incredible job. I mean, losing over 100 pounds is no small feat. And we have people on this call that have lost over 200 pounds. All right. We've got people in our company that have lost over 500 pounds. So you're in the right place. Just keep going and keep showing up to calls like this, because just imagine this. Most people fail because one, it's too hard, right? Or it just doesn't work and it's just too hard, or because they don't have accountability and support. With Isagenix, you're going to get all of the things that you need. And the biggest part is plugging in every week. All right. Because we have a story right now that you're going to love. You're going to love this next story. And it's plugging in every week and listening and learning. And then one day, you're already inspiring us, but one day you're going to be the Michelle sharing your incredible transformation story, how you did it. Okay. So let's go ahead and listen. I'm excited for this next story. Priscilla, you on, girl?
Yes, I am. I'm here. All right. Trying to get myself back together after those amazing stories, because you guys seriously melt me. So this is me here. These are my kids now, 11 and 13. And I'm really excited to be here and to be talking about something that I am so passionate about, and that's about cultivating a healthy environment within families. Because God, it's like parents, we have such an important job and it's not easy. And so I just want to give kudos to everybody on here on this call, but if it's for the first time, because this is you taking that first step towards something that you desire. And this is part of what you're creating for yourself. And I love to use the word create, because that's what we do. We create new habits, we create new intentions, and creating a new lifestyle. And that's what I had to do for myself. And that's what I have to teach my kids, that every day we're creating something. And so my story is a little bit different from the usuals, but it's very similar at the same time. I was very underweight and malnourished, and I was very skinny. And for a lot of people, that might seem like that's okay, except that I was bullied all the time, and I was made fun of all the time for being so skinny. And people said I looked sick, and I looked anorexic, and I looked bulimic, and they said I looked like I was doing drugs, and I was a child. And all that stuff affected me. It stood in my head, and I always thought there is something wrong with me and I can't control it, because I eat and I don't gain weight. And it was really getting to my head. And I remember I was about 12 or 13, and I went to the doctor just like Michelle. And I asked the doctor, I said, what can I do to gain weight? Because I don't like being this skinny. And he says to me, just eat more, just eat whatever you want, but just eat more, instead of saying you're fine just the way you are. So I thought, okay, great. Well, I'm going to keep just eating more and more. And so I remember I went to the corner store in the neighborhood where we lived, and I looked for the thing that had the most calories on it. And I feel so silly sharing this, but it's true. It's embarrassingly true. And I picked up a honey bun, and it had 500 calories on the pack. And I thought, if I eat 4 of these a day, I'll be at 2,000 calories plus everything else that I eat in a day. So then I can gain some weight. So I was 1.5 honey buns in, and I was so grossed out. I was disgusted. And I was like, I can't do this. And just FYI, I've never touched a honey bun since, to this day. But I started creating this habit for myself of overeating and overstuffing myself, because I thought that that's what I had to do. And why was I doing that in the first place? Because I was letting myself be influenced by people around me, as if they dictate my worth, as if the number on the scale or the size of my jeans mattered, and it doesn't. And so what happened over a course of 10 years was I ended up getting really sick all the time from overeating. It wasn't just stomach issues. It wasn't just GI issues, but in and out of the hospital for stomach pain. And it wasn't even just that. I developed severe acne, and I had a lot of respiratory issues, bronchitis, constantly had colds, to the point where finally in my early 20s, I had already had my kids at this point, and I had this horrible bout of pneumonia that like knocked me down. And I thought to myself, I don't ever want to be back at this place again. And whatever it is that's taking me here, I don't want it anymore. And I said to myself, I said, Priscilla, you're in your early 20s, you have 2 kids, and you're this sick. Where are you going to be 10 years from now, and 20 years from now? And so I decided something had to change. And I, went on Google, like most everybody does, Googled and tried to figure out how to eat and what to eat and what I should be doing. And as you would have it, when you put something out into the universe and you start working towards it, it starts to reward you. And so I was at a wedding fair. I was working a booth for the hotel I worked at, and Melanie was there. And I think she's probably on this call, and she had an Isogenics booth. And I went up to it, to the booth, and I was talking to Nancy, I think for a little while was there. And I was really into the AMP products because I just started working out. So I was like, I want something for performance. And I signed up and I started using Isogenics. And can you go back to my before and after photo? I weighed about 125 pounds. And that's me with my kids. And I went up to 140 pounds, and I basically just, built muscle. It was training and Isogenics, training and Isogenics. But more so than that, I gained tons of energy. And guys, my stomach issues went away. And my favorite product that I use to this day with that, the Isoflush. So I'm going to talk about the Isoflush. Isoflush is so good for gut health, and it's one of the most important parts of our health. So Isoflush supports a healthy digestive system, but it's not like it's a laxative that you have to be super worried about. It's very gentle. And the beautiful thing about Isoflush that makes it so different from other products out there is it has herbs and botanicals that actually pull toxins from your bloodstream, from your colon, and to help you release that. So, dirty toxic blood means, or toxic colon means toxic blood means toxic organs. And so Isoflush really helps support a healthy gut. And I've been using it for years, 1 to 2 every single night. And that is one of my favorite products. It's right here, Isoflush. And then the other thing that's great about it is that it is safe for kids. And so if your kid can pop a pill, like can take pills already, your kid can start taking this. And if your kid is, having issues using the bathroom, you can give them 2 capsules of this. And then the other product that I love, it's not one of the pillar products because I love the shakes and the ionics and all that too, but all the oils. I am obsessed with the Essence line, guys. And so you can use them for a lot of different things, but like one of the ways I love to do it is I'll just take like a magnesium lotion or some type of, toxic free lotion, and I'll put a drop of oil and like massage my kids' feet. Like my son loves having foot massages with oil, or a back rub with the oil. The diffuser obviously is great, and then people, if you're afraid like, oh, having it around pets, you can have it around pets and your kids as long as you have good ventilation. So just keep doors open, a fan running. You can put the oils in your laundry, if you want to have essential oil, like the smell of your laundry and something that's, safe and clean. Tea tree oil is great in shampoo for your kids. If you have any young kids that are like going to school and you don't want them to, like 4 and 5 year olds, and I'm not saying that Isogenics product is for that, but like tea tree oil is known to repel lice. So if you put in your kid's shampoo, it's just a good preventative treatment. So there's a lot of different ways to use the oil, and they're just, amazing. So yeah. Thank you guys.
Awesome. And Michaela, you're up, girl.
Hey y'all. Okay, I'm gonna start my timer so I stay on. And my little bit of 2 years in North Carolina just came out when I said y'all. But I am Michaela, and my story is actually in the middle of the other two lovely ladies that I get to share with tonight. I'm going to go a little bit backwards, but I found Isagenix through the beautiful pink-haired Kelly D. We did not know each other hardly at all when she first told me about Isagenix. She and I were pregnant with, I was pregnant with Karis, my big girl there, and she was pregnant with her fourth, Autumn, at the same time. And we met at one of my work's Christmas parties, and she said, "So my husband tells me you've been sick." And I said, "Uh-huh." And she said, "Well, this is my best pregnancy, and it's because of the nutrition I'm using." And I said, "Okay." And then I walked away. And then I stalked her on Facebook for 9 months, and just saw this positivity in her that you can't match Kelly D's energy or Kelly D's positivity. And I just knew there was something about her that we had to click. We just had to. And eventually, after I had Karis, I was working 40, 50 hours a week. My husband was in residency. We just don't slow down ever, which I'm sure is very much the story for many people on this call. There's just not any slowing down. And I was having trouble keeping up my milk supply for Karis at the time, and was desperate to do something to help her. It was not about me at all. It was all about just making sure I could feed my kid. And we had chosen, we wanted to keep nursing if possible, and I didn't want to spend money on formula if we didn't have to. And so I said, "Okay, fine, I'll try your shakes." And that was 4 years ago this month, and I have not gone back. The only days I've missed are when I was pregnant with Lena, my other little girl, because I just couldn't do any. I ate bread when I was pregnant with Lena, and that was it. But I am just so thankful for people on this call, people like Kelly and Priscilla and Michelle, who are willing to share their story and willing to just bring light into health. Because I think so often our health gets focused on, and this is true with our kids too, we're so focused on, what do you look like? What pants fit you? Are you with the most common style right now? Are you, like, do you fit in? And we lose sight of that health comes from inside first. And we have to change with that mindset first before we can accomplish any health goals. And so working backwards, one of the reasons I was so against trying Isagenix is that as a high school and college athlete, I struggled with an eating disorder. So Priscilla's saying she was too skinny. Michelle was struggling with being able to have self-control around food. And I was all about controlling as much of the food as I possibly could. And some of it was about body image. As a volleyball player, that happens. It's pretty common in the athletic field. But more of it for me was about control. And there were things in my life, circumstances in my life that I could not control. And as, you know, a teenage girl, what can you do? I can control what goes in my mouth. And I can control maybe what I look like based on what I eat. And so I struggled with that. And I won't go into my full story, but Isagenix is what transformed my mindset with the help of my Lord and Savior, which it would be not okay for me to share about Isagenix if I didn't include him there, because that is a massive part of my story. And I've always had a faith-based upbringing. I've had faith in my life always, but really truly grasping when I said yes to Isagenix for the sake of my kiddo, it was God's way of saying, this is for you. This is not just for someone else. And you don't have to make your decisions based on what someone else thinks or what someone else is doing. You get to make a decision for your health because I gave you your body, and your way of saying thank you is just to take care of it. And so that is what I love about our system, is that it's just a tool to take care of our body in a really quick, efficient way. I mentioned we have busy lifestyle. Thankfully, we're not in residency mode anymore, which I don't know if there are any residents anyone who's gone through a medical residency before, but it is, props to you. It is a hard life to live. Military families can probably greatly relate to that lifestyle, but just the whole concept of things are always moving. No one is at the dinner table at the same time. And I am very thankful that my kids are at least young right now, and I have the blessing of being able to just be full-time mama to them. I was able to quit my desk job last year. And so I do have that extra space to be able to do things like really, make muffins in the middle of the day, or do different things to provide more nutrition for my family. But without our shakes, which you guys, if you were on here early, you saw me drinking my green shake. Sometimes a shake is an avenue for me to throw in as many things as possible. So that as busy moms, sometimes eating every 2 to 3 hours doesn't happen. And I am not ever going to allow myself to skip the nutrients I need again, because I can't be the best version of me if I'm missing out on nutrients. So sometimes, like tonight, I needed everything in the kitchen sink in my shake. But I also give that to my kids, and I can give it to them quickly. The shakes they're a staple. We buy a lot of shakes in this household in a lot of different flavors, because every single one of us, we all have a different favorite, which I love that Isagenix gives us that variety. And then the other product that I love all the products, so it's really hard to pick. Stephanie told us to pick 1 or 2 products that we love to share. And I was like, and Priscilla shared her favorites, Michelle shared hers. I'm like, well, I like all of theirs and all the rest of them. But the one that we probably use the most as a family is IsaPro, because I can throw it into all of our baked goods and the kids don't even know that they're getting a boost of protein. And that tends to be one of the nutrients, a macronutrient that kids struggle to get enough of, is protein. They're really good at getting fat, not necessarily healthy fat, but they're good at getting fat. They're really, really good at getting carbs, which their little bodies need. God designed little bodies to need more carbohydrates, but they still need that protein. And so if you can get it in a sneaky way, sometimes that's really helpful, and you don't even have a power struggle then over you need to eat your chicken or you need to eat this or that. And our shakes having fruits and vegetables in them already helps take away that power struggle too.
So good, Michaela. And you are leading us straight into what we're really excited about, guys, now, which is our roundtable discussion. So thank you so much for sharing that. You three, thank you. Thank you so much. We're going to go over some products really quickly. These are some of the products they just talked about that they love so much. One thing that I was thinking about as you guys were talking was just this ability to teach our children, what good foods are and what bad foods are and what we need more of, because it's easier to teach our kids what we should be doing instead of what we shouldn't do. Like, it's not good to be saying no, 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 no all the time. But with Isagenix, we're providing so many great products to fill in the gaps and to replace the bad ones. So all these products that you're seeing flash to your screen, these are all products that our people have spent years formulating to replace the bad alternatives. Okay, so think of it as an opportunity to say, you know what, we're going to try this out for a while instead of this, right? So we can go ahead and, yeah, there we go. Beautiful, Stephanie. Thank you so much. Okay, so as we get started here, I have some questions that we want to talk about. We discussed, picky eaters, snacks, those kind of things. I'm going to share really fast. We taught our kids this process of slow foods, whoa foods, and go foods, because that was easy enough to wrap their brains around. All right, so whoa foods are the things that we shouldn't ever eat. If we eat it, it's because we're at a holiday party or it's Halloween or something. You really shouldn't ever eat candy. It's bad for you, right? There's no benefits if it tastes good. So those are whoa foods, and our kids know it's okay once in a while, okay? But it's not going to do them any good. Kids are so smart, guys. Yep. We underestimate how intelligent our children are. And if we stop saying no and start educating, they're going to make good choices. All right. And slow foods are the things that are good for you, but you do need to like have them in moderation, right? And you guys, Michaela, I would love for you guys to talk about some of those slow foods, those differences. And then go foods are the things they can have all the time. Okay. And I'm just going to share one example, because if you're like me, you have kids that were eating fruit, like they eat fruit all the time, and then crackers and chips and fishes, and they can eat carbs all day long, like Michaela said. They literally can eat carbs all day long. And the problem with carbs is that when you eat carbs, you want more carbs, right? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Once you pop, you can't stop. Okay. Once you eat carbs, it's hard to stop. And so what I learned as a mom is, okay, we have a drawer in our refrigerator full of proteins, deli meats, cheeses, veggies, things they can eat all the time. We start there with the go foods. And if they're still hungry, then they can have a slow food. Right? That's how we've done it. And as we've started doing that, my kids don't crave carbs anymore. They're not like in the kitchen all day long because they're eating the go foods, which are actually more satiating. Okay. All right. So what are you guys doing for snacks for your kids, ladies? What are things you have on hand? What are the tips and tricks you have for prepping for the week when it comes to snacks?
I can go first. So I just have to share, I saw on social media today, someone posted this Twitter quote that said something like, a kid has two stomachs. One is called the meal stomach, and it's the size of a pea. And the other stomach is the snack stomach, and it is bottomless. And it's so true. I don't know if anyone else can relate to that, but my kids are the snack queens. It's incredible. I have not seen any kid put away more snacks than my kids do, and not eat their meals more than my kids do. But I had to change my mindset. I think, as far as changing from like that meals are more important than snacks, we just changed to eating is important. And every time you eat, you need to have all of your macronutrients. So my 4-year-old can tell you, did you pick a protein? Because she hears that said a lot, like you need to pick a protein with your snack. You need to pick, or what do you want for your protein with your lunch? And a lot of times we don't even call them meals. We just say it's time to eat food. Because my 2-year-old, if you say lunch, she says, no, I want a snack. And so we've just kind of changed our language a little bit, because, and it's all the same. It's just, they're eating the same food. But for snacks, we do similar, Trisha. We, instead of woe foods, we call them treat foods. I stay away from good and bad food personally, because it just, with my background, and I have parents, I think my mom is on this call actually. So hi mom, if you're here. But they are health enthusiasts, and they have been always, and I'm really thankful for that. But we had bad foods and good foods in our house. And I want my kids to know that food is food, and God gave it to us for a reason. We should be able to enjoy it, but there are treat foods that bless our taste buds, and there are regular food that bless our body. And so we talk a lot about that. And getting back to snacks, we basically just, they get to choose a protein, and they get to choose something else to go with it. And my kids are little, so I can control what they have access to a little bit more than Priscilla and maybe Michelle's kids. But we have eye level snacks for them that have healthy things like all natural fruit leather, fruit and veggie pouches. The bottom drawer of the fridge has vegetables already cut up in it for them in little packets, so that I Ziploc bag them and they can just take out their own packet. And then they have proteins like almonds, pistachios, lunch meat, cheese, those types of things. So they can pick one of each for their snacks. And then the other thing that we do is we make a double batch of muffins or protein bars or balls every week. And we store them, and they can choose that, and the way that we make them, they have everything in it that they need. It has their fruit, their veggie, their protein, their fat, their carbohydrates.
How do you make
Okay.
the balls, the protein balls?
I was just going to say, I know we have some recipes that are going to be shared. Michaela, where are we going to share those recipes at?
I can share them in the event page. I also sent them to Stephanie, but there are a couple floating around. We have a very favorite protein bar recipe that I'll send a link for. I can actually put it in the comments. But yeah, that one is it's like a candy bar. They're really good.
We like
Awesome.
the lemon meal replace bar. I cut it in quarters. We like that one. We tried the chocolate peanut butter is good when you first taste it, but it leaves a funny aftertaste. And the cashew nut one to us was too dry.
Yeah.
And then that little peanut butter snack, it's too dry too. That little the peanut butter ball, whatever.
Yeah. Well, the great thing is there's so many different, flavors. I mean, the peanut butter one is my husband's favorite. He eats that like Skittles, but whatever, that's a different topic. So Priscilla, Michelle, do you have other ways that you're, preparing for snacks and things for your family?
Yeah, I'll share a little bit. So the protein balls are amazing. There's so many different ways you can make them. So some of the things that I like to keep at home that are really easy, and I'm all about keeping fruits in the house and mixed berries and all that stuff. And it's very easy, and like pretty much everyone loves it. But I also try to balance that out with some type of vegetable. So I like to have carrots at home or sliced cucumbers. Snap peas seem to be pretty easy for kids to eat, and sliced peppers is another really easy, good one. I like different types of hummus. A big one is like apples and like a chocolate hummus or some type of like sweet hummus. And then I'm more so like with the same thing with the good and the bad. I like to just teach my kids like this is nutrient dense and this is lacking in nutrients. And so it's not necessarily that we're cutting all foods out, but I teach my kids like primarily what I want you to fill up on is foods that are going to nourish your body. And then you can have, it's like an 80-20, and that's what I, teach my kids. And so instead of foods that are off limits, we just look for alternative recipes, alternative foods that have healthier, ingredients. And there's one last thing I was going to share and I don't remember. Maybe I'll remember later.
Yeah. Well, and it's like
I like strawberries, dipping in I like strawberries. I like dipping in whipped cream for my snack. Cool Whip. It's really good.
Oh yeah, that's always really good. But I do the same thing, teach the kids to,
I like apples dipping in peanut butter. Oh, yeah. It's good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's delicious too. That's the other thing, always having some type of fat and protein source, healthy fat and protein source in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love, you were talking, Michaela, about how you add all your stuff to the shake, like my greens was tonight. This is my favorite product, is just try releasing greens or Isopro and greens. And it's the same thing, like there's this book and I cannot find it anywhere. I'm so sad, but it was called Gregory the Terrible Eater. And it's about a goat who he's supposed to eat garbage and he always wanted to eat fruits and vegetables. And so his parents had to figure out ways to put garbage into his healthy food because he wouldn't eat garbage. It's the cutest book, but that's how we've had to do it with our kids, is we didn't start overnight. It was slowly incorporating healthier ideas, to where we got to the point where, my kids will eat hummus now. And they do dip their, their fruits, they're not their fruits, but their vegetables and chickens and hummus. And we make hydrate popsicles that are delicious, and they love that instead of getting ice cream. So, it's just about just slowly changing them. Michelle, Michelle, what are some ways that you've incorporated this healthy lifestyle going from where you were to where you are today? What are some of the transitions that helped?
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
My mom, when I was younger, my mom goes, "You got bad eating habits." I said, "Mom, I ate what you fed me when I was a kid." She got mad.
Yep.
They don't want to hear that.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, but luckily we get to change things, right? We get to leave a different legacy to our children. So what were you going to say, Michelle?
She didn't feed us much vegetables and stuff when I was younger, and but she got mad at me when I said that.
So early on, when I started using the nutrition, I thought I knew what healthy was. And so like my knife and fork, like my meal of the day, I thought it was healthy. And now looking back on it, I know it wasn't. I still lost weight because I was still doing 2 shakes a day, and I was following the system, and doing my 2 shakes, 2 snacks. But looking back on it now, I know it was not healthy. But I immersed myself in the product pages, and I just learned everything I could, because the better I felt physically, the better I felt emotionally, and I just wanted to continue to do better. I'm at a different phase in my life than Priscilla and Michaela with their kids, because my son is an adult. He's in college. He still lives at home because he goes to a local university and we're saving money. But he and I talk a lot about nutrition, including like what we see in commercials and like how they're targeting people. And we have conversations about that, and like how that used to be the way I was. And so he's kind of learned with me through all of this, because everything I learn, I would tell him, and we'd talk about it. We also do the healthier recipes for things that we used to eat that we liked. We've switched, and just all of the things that I learned from this amazing community of people, I incorporated that into the recipes that we used to eat, and I just switch things up. I'm listening to Trisha, Michaela, Priscilla getting all these ideas, and I'm like, dang, I wish I knew all that when he was little. Like, having the drawer at eye level, and all of these snacks pre-done for the week. I didn't know any of that. I feel like I really cheated him, and I'm trying to do damage control now by having these conversations with him. But yeah, it was a slow process, but that's honestly why it's good to lose weight slow if you have a lot to lose, because you need time to change those bad habits and those and that mental game that's in your head that's telling you the opposite, that's trying to make you go back to the way you were. You need time to change all that. So it's good to lose it slow. People want to rush it, but just enjoy the ride and learn.
It's about the journey, and as a parent, it has to be, because I like you've been sharing, I grew up in that same dieting mentality, and it led to so many body image issues for me because I saw my parents constantly dieting. And that's kind of where this like go food, slow food kind of came into my mind, was like, I don't want my kids to diet, and I don't want them to think mom's dieting, because in Isogenics, we're not dieting, but the questions that I ask my kids, I have 3 questions I ask them, and you can ask yourself this, you can ask your children this, 1, how do you feel? How's your energy level? Like, where's your energy at right now? 2, how do you feel in your brain? Like, are you happy? Do you feel awake and alert and like your mood is good? And then 3, do you feel strong? Those are the 3 questions that I talk to my kids about all the time. And I'm just a quick example, our first year in Isogenics, I had lost like 50-something pounds by Halloween. And we were going into Halloween, and I was like going, okay, what am I going to do? Like, I don't want to eat all the candy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that wasn't even like tempting for me at the point. And Halloween's around the corner, right? And so I was talking to my kids about it, and we were talking about what, those foods do to our energy, our bodies, like how they just don't help us feel good. They don't do us anything. And my kids went to Halloween, they ate candy all night long. And without fail, all 3 of them had a stomachache the next day. The next day, they were all sick, right? And we talked about it. It wasn't a bad choice you made. We just talked about this is what happens when you eat too much of the wrong things instead of the right things. And I'm only sharing this because, again, our kids are so smart. The next Halloween, my kids, without me saying a word, my kids all, like, they started eating their candy, and my oldest Hiram was like, you know what? I don't want to eat too much because I don't want to get sick. I was like, yes, Yes, they're getting it. They're getting it, right?
That
Well,
was my problem, was the candy. I cannot help myself around candy because candy is so good, but it's so hard to get rid of. It's so hard not to eat it.
That reminds me of something else too that I learned to do with my son when he was younger, thankfully, again, because my mom learned from her mistakes with me. Instead of asking them, are you full? Are you satisfied, or have you had enough? Because you don't want them to eat until they're full. That was my problem. I ate until I was full, or I ate till it was gone. And I didn't have, I think it's called an epistat, that, thing that you have in here that tells you when you're full. I didn't have one. Like I would just eat till it was gone. So.
Well, because you were doing what you were always taught, which we were all
Yep.
told, like finish your plate. You
Yep.
can't get off. You can't get up from the table till your plate is empty. We were all taught that.
Yep.
So what else, ladies, as we close up this call, what's on your heart? What else do you feel like you just need to share to these families that truly want to live a beautiful life with their loved ones, into the day they die?
I'll share one last thing. Like you were talking about in the candy situation, and as you get older, your kids start, they go to their friend's house, and I guess one of the things I feared was that they would get to a point where they're like, oh, my friend has all this other junk food, and so I'm going to go and like have everything. And so I wanted to prevent that, obviously, just by allowing little, treat foods here and there so they didn't feel deprived. But as your kids get older, sometimes like it can get harder, especially when there's peer pressure and all their friends are eating everything else that you really don't want them to eat. But what I really do want to say to parents is like, press on and keep doing what you're doing, because your kids are watching you. They're seeing everything that you're doing. Be the example, like first and foremost, like just go first. And your kids will pick up. And even when they tell you, no, I don't want that, and I don't want this vegetable, and I don't want to eat this and that, just keep encouraging them, right? We don't force, we encourage. And they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it at some point in time, but do not give up. It's a lifestyle. It's forever. So you're going to marry this lifestyle, and just imagine the best like version of you and your family possible, the healthiest version of you and your family. Just keep working towards it and don't give up, no matter how much your kids resist and push away.
Hey, Trisha. So your story with your kids is kind of interesting in that, like Michelle, we have a son that goes to Arizona State, and he's living at home because of the pandemic. And what's been interesting is all summer, he's been doing isogenics. But he's starting to make adjustments on his own by saying, maybe I'm eating too late. Maybe I should eat my shake earlier. Maybe I should control my portions. Maybe I don't need tater tots, and those are the positive things that when you have a plan and you let, like people understand isogenics. It's not, Megan, like we talked about last week, it's not going to be an overnight thing. Your story last week, I remember when you talked about how you didn't, take your milk duds, that's what this does for you. My story is a little different, but more importantly, what we're trying to achieve today is even when the kids get older, it's kind of rewarding because the plan is there for them to use it as a tool. And it's very positive when you see them get results.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think, just going off of that, Neil, one thing that keeps coming to my mind, especially as Michelle was sharing, is parents, and again, even if you don't have children, it still applies to you. Like, have grace for yourself, because, God wants their health and happiness just as much as you do, right? And it's okay if we make mistakes, like it's going to be okay. And as Priscilla is talking about teaching her children, like teach them and educate them and give them some trust so they can make some good choices. And as they get older, yeah, they're probably going to screw up a little bit, but they've been taught. And those things are going to be in their brain as they get older and older. And we pray that eventually they will start becoming an adult and start making the right choices again, even if they struggled for a little bit, right? I mean, that's normal.
That guy in that video call, he gave me really some encouragement last week that I loved. He knows that I can do this. that I can do this, lose this weight, feel skinnier again, and get healthier.
Yeah, you can do
I feel
it,
like my
Megan. We all believe in you, girl. Okay,
Yeah.
so Michaela.
Yeah. I just had two quick thoughts. The first was, Michelle, you had said something that I don't feel that we fully acknowledged, and I just want to make sure we acknowledge it. That you said you wish you would have been doing things the way that Priscilla and I are doing early on, and you feel like you cheated your son. And I just want to encourage you that you didn't, because you're here now and you're putting in the effort now, and we all have different stories for a reason. And we would not be able to influence and help so many people if all of our stories were exactly the same. And I'm probably going to be coming to you, and my kids are 17, saying, I knew how to do it when they were 2 and 4 and listen to everything I say, but now they're 17 and I have no idea what to do. Please help me. So we need everybody's story. It's not a one way is better than the other. And the other piece of that I wanted to just encourage everyone is that whether or not you have kids, or whether or not, there is someone watching you, and it has to start with you first. So you taking care, and this is not directed just at Michelle, this is directed at myself too, but I have to take care of my own body and set the example, because everyone pays more attention to what you do than to what you say. And that includes our kids too. So we try really hard, and it's a struggle, really. I really want to tell my kids, no, you have to eat all of your broccoli. You have to eat everything that you have to try everything. And all that happens is it just makes them want to dig in more, because we are all our own person. Even my little 2-year-old, and those of you that have seen her, she has a mind of her very own, and she will let you know it. And if I try to say you have to eat that, she's going to say, no, I don't. And what are you going to do about it? And
I used to never like broccoli when I was a kid, but nowadays I love vegetables.
That's so good. See, that's the other thing too, is it changes.
My mom used to always eat your vegetables. You don't eat your vegetables, you're not leaving from the table. That's how I was taught when I was a kid.
Yeah. So the way that because I think every kid battles with vegetables, and part of it is their taste buds. Our taste buds change as we get older, and vegetables are pretty bitter, especially to young taste buds. It's biologically how it is. And so offering a dip, you can find a healthy dip to offer, doing that. And also we find vegetables they like, and we stick, like one of my kids loves peppers, so we stick with peppers for her. The other loves snap peas.
Carrots.
Snap peas.
My kids love carrots.
Yeah, so not forcing people to eat exactly how you eat, I think is so important, but really just remembering that they're going to make their own choices, whether they're 2 or 17 or 13. And just like Trisha said, our job as a parent or a role model is to do that. Model what to do, model how to take care of yourself, and give them the information, and then trust them to screw it up and then get back on their feet again.
I got stuck on that word trust. It's a really powerful word. And, a lot of that is for me, as I'm looking at my products right here, it's trusting the system, trusting the process, trusting these beautiful products, this culture, this community, just like sticking with it, and trusting that what we're being pulled from our gut to do for our families is what's right for them, and that it's going to impact their lives, because we love our children. We love our families. We want the very, very best for them. And that's why we're here tonight. Right. So anything else that you guys feel like sharing before we close up here? I know I have been so inspired. Yeah.
I did my 3rd week of cleansing yesterday.
Good job, Megan. Yeah, you're doing it.
So
hey, I have something to share. Congratulations,
yes,
Megan, congratulations for cleansing. Nice work. I'm always right. Food is my thing. I love food. I think it's all of our thing, right? We all love it so much. we're working against it's now $1 trillion industry. So if you think about it, it's rare that a child doesn't see a McDonald's in a day. Like every day you probably go past a McDonald's somehow, or a Burger King, or it's like all the time.
I saw cheese conies, a sign for cheese conies yesterday. I was like, God, I want cheese conies so bad. Even though
that's brilliant marketing. That's their marketing, making you want it. So you just got to win. You just got to, it's all over. It's all around us. So I think you got to be gentle with yourselves, because we are really working against $1 trillion industry and it's not like a health industry. It's not a wellness industry, right? So kudos for all of you for saying yes to isogenics. I'd like to see that every as often as we see McDonald's. Well, I do, because we have it in our homes, but driving by, see a big isogenic sign, that'd be kind of cool.
If I could chime in with an advice, I like what you just noted, Heidi, about how the industry, does their marketing. You know what me and my wife do with isogenics products? We put them all over the house. We put them all over the house, and we crave them. Like, man, I wasn't craving that. Now I am. I'm going to go for it. So, I do it just like they do it. They bombard us with their marketing. So I put it all over the house. I even have it at work. I have it outside my locker, in my locker, in the break room. It's all over,
I love the mint chocolate. So I've been craving that lately.
Mm-hmm.
That's another idea that we've come up with. So I thought I'd share that.
Heck yeah. No, that's so smart, Jose. I love that tip. And, it's just a reminder too. It's a reminder of getting in your water, getting in your shakes, getting in the healthy foods, the protein pacing, like all those beautiful things. If you don't have those reminders, it's so easy, like Megan was sharing, it's so easy to eat the candies and stuff when you're hungry. But whereas if you're fueling your body with all the good stuff, right, there's less room for the bad stuff. And that's what I've always kind of taught myself was start with the good. And if you still have room and you still want something, then you can have something, but you're already full. Like you're already satiated. You're not going to pig out on the bad stuff, right?
My mom can fit in her skinny jeans. She can fit in her
skinny.
She can fit in
size under.
She's a size under now. She can fit in her small pants now.
That's
size
awesome.
12.
That's awesome.
14 to 12.
Well, families that get healthy together typically stay together longer. So keep going. You guys are so amazing. Heidi, thank you for that tip. And Jose, those were really, really great. You guys, we love our community. Thank you for showing up tonight. Thank you for what you brought us. I know we had a lot of laughs. And you also just really touched my heart. And I was looking around and seeing some of the women and Jose trying not to cry. So
It was hard to cry. It was hard.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
My Uncle Billy's in town, and my Aunt Michelle for family reunion on Sunday, on Labor Day, and we'll be eating a lot of food.
Yeah, well, so you just, you take what you learned tonight, and maybe you guys make some healthy treats that you learned about and bring them to your party. And when you get to your party, you start with the things that you know are right. So you have a shake before you leave your house. Have a shake. So you're already happy. And when you get there, start with the protein. Start with the lean meats, the cheeses, the water, all those things, and then have a few treats because it's a fun party. Okay. Yeah. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Make sure you check out our event page because Stephanie has been so beautiful and has been posting all the recipes there. And we'll continue to post great things. And I will see you guys next Thursday. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, ladies.
Everybody. What a great night. Woo.
Bye.